Committee will come to order again. We'll now resume questioning under the 5-minute rule. Ms. Lofgren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Whitaker, for being here today. On January 28th, you made a statement, and I'm trying to understand more about that. You mentioned, and this is a direct quote, right now, referring to the Mueller investigation, right now the investigation is close to being completed. What was the basis for that statement that you made, Mr. Whitaker?
Thank you for that question, Congresswoman. I had a press conference announcing an important indictment related to Huawei and their alleged stealing of intellectual property of an American company. During that course of that press conference, I was asked questions about the special counsel's investigation, and I prefaced that answer by saying I can't talk about an ongoing investigation like the special counsel's investigation. And as I sit here today, I really don't have anything to add to what I said.
Well, it seems to me that you did talk about an ongoing investigation, and therefore you can understand, I'm sure we'd like to know what you meant by what you said. In that same statement, you said, quote, you were, quote, comfortable that the directions that were made will be reviewed through the various means we have, unquote. What does that mean?
Congresswoman, thank you for that question. I would refer you to the special counsel regulations again, the question the answer that I gave to the inquiry was regarding the timing of the special counsel's investigation. I have nothing as I sit here to add to that, but I do want to mention that the special counsel's regulations, by their very nature, say that the Attorney General will receive a report, that will be a confidential report, and that report will cover the decisions. And so I was talking about, as Attorney General, as Acting Attorney General, if and when I receive that report. Again, I only have less than a week, as you know, before Mr. Barr comes on board, that I would review those decisions pursuant to that report.
So is it fair to say that really what you're saying is that the special counsel's investigation is proceeding within the scope of the authorities set forth in Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein's May 2017 order? Is that exactly what you're saying?
Thank you for an opportunity to clarify that. I think what I just explained to you is that the special counsel's investigation is proceeding consistent with the regulations that outline why the appointment happened, consistent with Mr. Rosenstein's appointment.
All right, thank you very much for that clarification. I'd just like to note that to some extent, it's hard to ignore that the willingness to discuss ongoing investigations has not been applied evenly. I mean, you've just mentioned today the Roger Stone indictment, and that's an ongoing matter. But let me get back to an opportunity you have to clear the air. Many have speculated that your appointment was based on your public appearances that harshly criticized the special counsel's investigation. Prior to your hiring as Chief of Staff to then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, I'd like to know, did you discuss or share your private opinions of the special counsel investigation with President Trump or other White House officials such as Mr. Kelly or Trump family members or public surrogates like Mr. Giuliani? And I would note that this is not covered by executive privilege because at that time you were a private citizen.
Congresswoman, thank you for that question. I came to Washington, D.C. in October of 2017 to be Attorney General Sessions' Chief of Staff. I have the greatest respect, as you know, for General Sessions, and I am really, honored to carry out the role of acting Attorney General.
If I may, that's very nice, but that wasn't the question I asked.
Well, as you know, I am, as I mentioned, honored to serve as acting Attorney General, and I'm honored that the President selected me to be the acting Attorney General. I can assure this committee that before appointing me to this position, the President did not ask for, and I did not provide any commitments, promises concerning the special counsel's investigation or any other investigation, as I mentioned in my opening
That's not the
statement.
question I asked, sir. And I see that my time is about to expire. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to add, I know that we're going to have follow-up depositions under oath.
I'll allow
We'll add this.
allow you to
that
ask the question again more specifically and ask the witness to answer the question specifically and not to continue filibustering.
The question is whether you shared your private opinions of the special counsel investigation with President Trump, other White House officials such as John Kelly, Trump family members, public surrogates such as Rudy Giuliani. At the time that I'm referencing, you were a private citizen before you were hired, so it is not covered by executive privilege. Did you do that?
Congresswoman, just to be clear, you're asking me whether or not I talked with anybody essentially in the President's circle or at the White House about my views of the special counsel's investigation?
Correct.
When I was a private citizen
Correct.
and not at the Department of Justice?
Correct.
No, I did not.
All right.